Hello and welcome to another video by Rick Miracle Me. In my new series, Year 2020 Rick Miracle Report, this is number 11. Moving right along in January. Going to talk about something interesting, trying to tie all these topics together I talk about. I was reading another Contact magazine, Monarch Mind Control Madness. Sick creatures at the government top like Senator Byrd and Ronald Reagan. A lot of people like Ronald Reagan, the ex-movie star. So the Contact magazine, they were publishing The Liberator from 1990 to 1991-92. Then they had some politics involved on who ran the organization of the Liberator magazine. So the members left the group and started a different magazine called Contact magazine. And that went on until 1999. And out of a lot of those magazines and other topics, they created the Phoenix Journals. And you can look up the Phoenix Journals and find the free PDFs online, 4winds10.com, I think, and find the Liberator or the Contact Magazine's PDF, all free. Download the 10 years worth of information onto your computer. A lot of valuable information from the 1990s. People knew or were telling what was going on. A lot of intelligent, educated people had done a lot of research, a lot of insiders. So they were telling us these things, but apparently people, I guess, are just so apathetic, they don't care, that nobody wants to think about this stuff and see things for what they are. Like 911. The Arabs with box cutters didn't come over here and topple the two Twin Towers, plus Building 7 that free fell, that was never hit by a plane. And even the owner, Silverstein, told the firemen, and they have this on a lot of videos, to pull it. Well, you can't pull a building unless you have all the demolition already installed inside the building to drop it. That's called pulling it. So apparently it was already armed with all the bombs on all the columns. And on the Twin Towers, seems that there's enough evidence to say the same thing. So all this was staged, was planned for, involving Bush's brother and other relatives and Israeli intelligence agencies, security companies running the airport. So who are these people with the belong to the secret societies, Freemasons, Illuminati, Knights of Columbus, Knights of Malta, Council of Foreign Relations, Trilateral Group, Bohemian Grove, Golden Dawn, Club of Rome, Bilderberger groups, all of them seemingly some kind of demonic, satanic religion. Well, there's a name for it. It's called the Mystery Babylon the Great. Mystery Babylon the Great. So apparently, over in this part of the world, behind me on this map, this is China in yellow behind my head. And this right here, Kazakhstan, seems to be the area that used to be called Khazaria, the Khazars, and that goes all the way down here to the Ukraine and Georgia. The Khazars kingdom, when all this whole area behind my hand was the Khazar kingdom. And if you notice, I put it over here, United States. So it was as big as the United States. Okay, get used to the camera here. So there's an area here with these Khazars Right next to, here's China, and top of China is Mongolia, the barbarians, Genghis Khan, whose armies ravaged all over Asia and all over Europe, all this area. Seriously barbaric and just slaughtering tons of people right down into India and China and all here is southern Mediterranean and Europe, the Khazars. Well, apparently, 1,000 years ago or so, the Khazars, that whole thing, size of my hand, the size of the United States, they converted to Judaism. And there is no such thing as Jew or Judaism before 1700. The word didn't exist. What there was a mystery religion of Babylon, Satanism. So I was reading this Nora's Research Corner, and I thought I'd read a little bit from this article, Mystery Babylon the Great. And because I've made a lot of book reviews and New World Order videos and live streaming on YouTube for 2 months before they shut me down, and had 1,000+ hours on YouTube, had book reviews on 230, 40 books, besides my many New World Order videos from the materials I collected, press releases, and other research material. So 15 years of research. So I kind of know a little bit from that study of 15 years. So when I read this, I'll be able to throw in my 2 cents. So apparently, there was a book called The People of the Secret by Ernest Scott, published in 1983, purports to report on the conclusion reached by 4 scholars that the Sufis are the source of all religions. So, I guess if you know anything about religion, you know there is a God. Most religions have a God. And Christianity, of course, they believe Jesus was sent by God, the Son of God. And the Holy Spirit is part of the God world. And angels like Gabriel or Michael are God's angels. There's others. And also in the Bible, it talks about 1/3 of the angels, these fourth dimensional beings, being cast out of heaven, up there in the heavens, the fourth dimensional world, and imprisoned on earth. And when Jesus was walking on the earth, Satan took him to the top of a mountain, this is in the Bible, and said, I will give you all of this planet behind me. You can see the map. If you will bend the knee to me. And Jesus said, I don't need any of this. In my Father's house, there are many mansions in the fourth dimension. This is the third dimension, the physical dimension. So when we talk about religion, we're talking about God's world, God's people, and God's adversary, Satan, Lucifer, demons, the devil, fallen angels. There are many names for those fallen angels. Remember, 1/3 of God's angels were cast out of heaven. What was that? With thousands, millions? How many angels are 1/3 of God's angels? Because on planet Earth, we have 6 billion people. Maybe it was 1 billion angels. Maybe there were 3 billion angels. We don't know. But apparently, they're into the bowels of the earth or walking around reincarnated as people that we know, maybe even of groups of people with a certain DNA. So it says here in this article that it's suggested that the Jewish, Muslim, and Christian religions were to be processed of being merged together. Says here, and I'm trying to minimize my reading, so I'm just going to jump into some of these topics. And it says, you will discover my research on the matter that shows a strong relationship between the Sufis and the Committee of 300 and some circumstances which link the Khazarian Jews to the Sufis. So they had a religion, this mystery Babylon religion, where apparently they worship some kind of being called Sophia. And there's many names for her. One of them, I think, is Columbia, District of Columbia. Columbia University, and so much more. It's hard to know what to believe. But apparently, the people who control the planet have many different organizations, starting out, as you can see on this chart, with the Committee of 300, the Kings of Saudi Arabia, United Nations, Zionism, Communion, Fabianism, Liberalism, Socialism, and Royal Institute for International Affairs, CIA, British Intelligence, Mossad, Israel, Tavistock over there in Britain, providing propaganda to tell people what to think, deceiving people, Club of Rome, NATO, U.S. military. So apparently they control all of this, and they are an antichrist religion, and they're trying to bring about a one world religion and discredit Christianity. And if you're paying attention, you can see they pretty much have done that. A lot of people are showing symbols and signs of anti-Christian beliefs, even demons and daggers and beings tattooed all over their bodies. You can see it wherever you go. The mind control is working. So if they're trying to create a one world religion, there are a number of factors which point to at least part of it being true. This book is a revelation about the most of the false religions and the New Age teachings that have been perpetrated upon us. Therefore, it also presents us with clues to the identity or identities of the false prophets and their false religions, the Babylon the Great, if not the son of perdition himself, Satan himself. And it's in the Bible, Thessalonians 2-13. I have no doubt that most academians do not take the people of the secret seriously because Mr. Scott fails to provide the names of the scholars involved in their resumes. I'm going to move ahead here. We've all seen the movie Holy Blood, Holy Grail, and it says here that was published back then, which purports to show that the elite of Europe are descendants of the King David of the Old Testament through Jesus and the rightful kings of Jerusalem. So they would have us believe, if you watched Holy Blood, Holy Grail, that the royalty in Britain are descendants of Jesus. They're twisting everything around. At the same time, the London Benjamin Creme was promoting the emergence of Maitreya. So apparently, these evil beings, Satan himself, and many of the other fallen angels, are part of these mystery Babylon religions, and they can reincarnate on earth. And Benjamin Creme was saying one of those entities had incarnated on earth and was called Maitreya, said to be the embodiment of Christ, Krishna, Ayman Monday to the Muslims, and the Buddha. So they're saying that this Christ, this being from the other world, who came as Jesus, who came as Krishna, who came as Monday, who came as Buddha, is all the same entity. In addition, we begin to hear rumors of a one world government where all these promotional thrust connected somehow. And it does seem it's all connected, especially according to my 15 years of research. I can point it out. It's the snake people, the serpent over and over again, the symbols over and over again. And it's in this article that you can find free on the Phoenix Journal website. Look it up on the internet, the Phoenix Journals, the Phoenix Project, Contact Magazine, or 4winds10.com. And this is issue February 7th, 1995. So you can get this for free and print it out. It's only 40 pages or so. So you can print it out and do your own research and verify it. And if it's true, it's quite concerning to we the people. An important teaching of the Sufis, according to the people of the secrets, is that things which appear to be diametrically opposed are in fact working together. And it would be well to keep this in mind when reading this book and when reading all of today's propaganda in the mass media and even in apparently independent sources. So it's really hard to know who to trust. And all these appeared diametrically opposed to each other, like the Democrats and the Republicans, or demonizing Iran, and demonizing Russia, demonizing China. They flip-flop around with this all the time. Apparently, behind the scenes, they're actually working together and deceiving we the people. There is some historical information to be found in Godfrey Higgins' book, Anacalypse. Looks like Apocalypse or something. First published, Anacalypse, Anacalypsis. First published in 1836, Godfrey Higgins, and began a review of a great deal of language, history, and religion. This author says they don't agree with Mr. Higgins' conclusions, and much of his history has been proven to be in error. However, it appears Mr. Higgins and his friends in Charleston, North Carolina, apparently a huge Freemasonic city, even back during the 1860s when we had the war between the North and the South, among the Masons, had access to the British Museum, and that his work was partly intended to support the Masons while discounting most other beliefs. So they would have us believe the religion of the Masons, that they're actually worshiping God, when it appears that Albert Pike said that the Masons who reached the 32nd, 33rd degree were confidentially told that Lucifer was really their deity, which would have been Satan and the fallen angels, part of the Babylon mystery religion. So what this means is the Sufis are present-day Gnostics from earlier times. That's pagan religions worshiping many gods. Again, that would be the demon gods, not God's people, Michael, the angel, Gabriel, the angel, and Jesus Christ, etc. For those of you who have read my articles on the snake people and all of these secret societies, etc., witchcraft religions, Kabbalah, they all use the serpent, the snake people. The word Sophius will be familiar to you. Sophia has been interpreted as wisdom. However, it is the kind of wisdom that believes, for example, that Cain was superior to Abel, as it is the dark forces which provide the light forces an opportunity to learn the necessary lessons. Many of their many sects and cults include the snake as a part of their symbolism. So the Rosicrucians, I'll repeat this, I've said it before, their story of creation was God first created, or put, I should say, a Sataniel on earth, I guess in the embodiment of a human. So he was a spiritual fourth dimension being, which we all are, I believe. We're all spiritual beings in these biological bodies. And to have a mate or to produce children, from the earth, God created Eve. According to the Rosicrucians, this is their teaching. I've talked about this in previous videos. So apparently this Sataniel Satan, reptile being, or maybe he wasn't. Well, maybe he was a reptile being, or maybe he was a reptile being after this. But anyways, he was certainly a divine being from God's world, Sataniel. And he mated with Eve, who was created from the dirt of the earth, clay. And they had a son named Cain. Well, apparently, Sataniel got bored with being on the planet Earth. You see the map behind me. And went back into the fourth dimensional world. And so God felt sorry for Eve, all alone now, and created Adam. This is according to the Rosicrucian teachings. And they had a child named Abel. Well, as you can imagine, Cain, whose father, the divine being, had abandoned him and his wife, was jealous of Abel, so he slew him, killed him. First murder of the humans. And apparently, according to the Rosicrucians and the Bible, Adam and Eve had a second child after Cain slew Abel, and that would be Seth. So back to this book. So there's something to this religious teachings, whether it's from the Kabbalah or the Bible or the Muslims book or the Buddhist or Hindus or Zoroastrianism. It all involves the fourth dimensional spirit world and interactions with this world for whatever reason. And it includes some kind of cult, people of the snake. So it is Mr. Higgins' book that I came across the most interesting statement, according to this author, to the effect that Noah's 3 sons, remember Noah, Noah's ark, he was warned by the spiritual beings to build an ark because the men on the earth had turned towards evil. So God was going to destroy the earth through flooding, but he wanted to save a remnant of the humans. And apparently, according to other indigenous tribes all over the world, like the Hopis in the Midwest in the United States, some kind of spiritual beings or beings from space or beings from the fourth dimension, which I think are the same place, the ones that are called UFOs and aliens. There are 2 types. The Earth-based UFO and aliens, apparently evil, and the fourth dimension outer space beings, which apparently can pop into our reality and pop out, including their craft, and many people have seen this, and they're kind of craft that glow, they're light beings. So you can get these interactions of these so-called UFOs and aliens from God's spirit world, or from the demon beings in the bowels in the earth, under the earth, or hidden places like Shambhala in the Tibetan mountains. So you have good versus evil going on here. So Noah's 3 sons, Shem, Ham, and Japheth, have always been at war with each other over the question of which was the elder son, and therefore which one was entitled by right to rule the world. So you got these descendants of Noah who were arguing on which one of them is the elder son and that should rule the world. And remember, they probably didn't know which one was the elder son because they were living 300, 400, 500, and 600 years. Maybe they forgot who was the first one born when they were 500, 600, 700 years old. But remember, they're part spiritual beings, fourth dimensional beings, not completely human like we are, or to this degree of humanity that we are, and we have forgotten our history. But when people die, there was a story I read in the Fate magazine, this one here. And it's an interesting story, but apparently over there in Nepal, this 90-year-old man passed away, dropped over dead. So they were, next day or so, they were going to have a big funeral, and they put him in a casket, an open casket, and had pallbearers carrying him to the gravesite when his foot twitched. And one of the pallbearers noticed his foot twitching and said, "Hold up there." And so they set the casket down, and the old man sat up in the casket and climbed out of the casket and looked at the group of people. He said, I now know that when you die, life doesn't end. And he walked away. So when he was apparently dead, he went to the spirit world, and apparently it was alive and well like you were human in this world. And like many out-of-body experiences or after-death experiences, in the lighted tunnel on the other side, spiritual entities or beings said, it's not your time, you got to go back. There's enough evidence to show that is true. But that man said that he went someplace and he knows that when you die, you don't really die. So we're all really spiritual beings. So they have this battle from the descendants of Noah. Oops, there goes my phone. So the descendants of Noah apparently were quite intelligent, and some of those descendants continue to know their history since the Great Flood, thousands of years ago, and are the knowledge and history of the secret societies and cults that operate behind the scenes on planet Earth for thousands of years. And their symbol is the serpent, the snake. And so they are part of the fallen angels, which should be concerning to all of us. So the three sons were arguing over who was the rightful heir to ruling the planet. So once this was established, the people descended from the other two sons were to come under the elder son's rule. It appears incredible and ridiculous. Yet, this is very important information when you consider that your Congress here in the United States recently put the United States under Noahide laws. So the president, I think George Bush Sr., signed into law the Noahide laws. And apparently any of us now who continue to deny their religion, the mystery religion of Babylon, the snake religion, and continue to believe that Jesus Christ was the Savior, their punishment for believing in a false Savior, God, is beheading you. And apparently this religion is going to be forced on us. And the government actually passed the Noahide laws into law. So the government, the people who control our world, are taking this very serious, this Lucifer satanic worship. So the idea of the elder son being to the one entitled to rule or to inherit, etc., has been all a part of the Jewish, Japhethic, and elites' belief in the way of life since before the flood, it appears. No one but an egomaniac would ever think they had a right to rule the world. Further, you may recall that the Old Testament is in conflict as to which son of Noah's is the elder, Shem or Japhet, Genesis 10 in the Bible. Nevertheless, if you look up Japhet in the Encyclopedia Judaica, and I need to do that, you will learn that all the rabbis, the Pharisees, now declare that Japhet is the elder. Why is this important? Because the Khazarians, Jews, claim to be the sons of Japhet. Now, I told you before when I started this video, here's China in yellow. This is Mongolia, the barbarians, Genghis Khan, who conquered all of this area where my hand is behind. Brutally, viciously murdered China, all of this area, size of the United States. So this is Mongolia. Anyways, here's Kazakhstan, and here's Ukraine and Georgia. So all these people were the Khazars, Khazaria, and they converted to this Jewish religion, believing in Japhet as to be the elder of Noah's sons to rule the world. These evil Khazarians, Khazars, from Khazaria, and they're the ones who now are the Zionists and the controllers and leaders of all the secret societies, the snake people. So you know why what's going on in the Middle East, here in Israel, Zionism, and they're controlling everything using, and it's been planned for a couple hundred years, the United States power and money to accomplish this new world order, this global world order from these Khazarians, which used to have all this territory all over Russia, all of Western China, Asia, all the way down into here 1,000 years ago. So they are to be reckoned with, and they're a kind of a people that are very powerful nations, but we don't hear about them. They keep a low profile, but they control everything. We hear about Russia, we hear about China, we hear about the United States. We even know about, right here, down here, Brazil. Look how big Brazil is. We know about Africa, but we don't hear about this place the size of my hand behind me that was Khazaria, and the Khazars converted to Judaism and are descendants of Japhet in the Bible, the sons of Noah, and the government in the United States secretly passed the Noahide laws, and every president since then has been signing the Noahide laws as the law of the land, which says if you believe in a false deity and they deny Jesus is the God or Son of God, that you will be punished by beheading. This is serious business. That's a lot to say. But I've been doing my research, and that's apparently what's going on today. And I'll finish this 30-minute video. Why is this important? Because the Khazarian Jews, the people from all of this area where my hand is, claim to be the sons of Japhet. They originated in the area of Japhet's people settled. They are also known by the name Akhenazi. Now that's something interesting. They're called Akhenazi, Hitler's Nazis. And apparently Hitler and his occult activities into this mystery religion of Babylon is all one and the same. Akhenazis are the ones who put Hitler in power. Apparently Hitler was an Akhenazi Jewish person, and there's evidence again and again to show that, and that Hitler was a proxy, an agent from Britain sent in there to organize Germany and all those nations to prepare for World War II, so they continue their forward movement into bringing about a one world, global world order. So he says here, he is indebted to a friend, S.E., who gave me the opportunity to read Anacalypse, Analypsis. So I suppose they need to find that. So I will continue these 30-minute videos, putting little pieces of this puzzle together, but to give us a synopsis about what I just read. There clearly appears to be a serpent religion operating behind the scenes and deceiving God's people, and are planning on a global world order, and they believe they have some kind of divine right to rule the world. And apparently most people are aware they're putting up their microwave towers everywhere. Artificial intelligence is coming online. A friend of mine the other day said that the TV was turned off, and he could hear a conversation of people from the TV. Somehow the transmission of some people's voices were coming through. And apparently he told me a couple brand of the new TVs, they can monitor you and watch you through the TV. We know they got the cameras everywhere, and they have the artificial intelligence and the GPS tracking, cell phone tracking. So they're really close to knowing everybody, where they are, cataloging everybody. They know who the Christians are and who the Luciferian Satanists are, and the people in the middle. Apparently the people in the middle will be sent to internment camps to be trained. The people that are claimed to have a red dot or cataloged as Christians, or people who will deny Satan and Lucifer, are scheduled to be beheaded. So they have the three groups. The green groups, obviously the Satanists, are going to have a not do anything to those people. They're acceptable citizens. The people that are yellow on the fence can be retrained, but the people that are diehard religious, whatever religion, Islam, Christian, Buddhist, Islam, or Zoroastrianism, whatever, the people who will not swear allegiance to Satan and Lucifer are scheduled to be beheaded as per the Noahide laws secretly passed. And all these little pieces of the puzzle in the story seem to come together. So if you wanted to know what's really going on, maybe that'll help. Stay tuned for the next video. Rick Miracle reporting.